Hey, I'm going to talk about animal cruelty today. I've tried to do it on a PowerPoint and it wouldn't pick up my voice, so I'm just going to do it by video. Um, I kind of just wanted to touch on animal cruelty. I know it's a hard subject for a lot of people, but I think it's important to address because I personally feel that animals should receive the same amount of rights that we do. Obviously, not as complex, but they should be able to live a free life without being tested on, without being hit, um, without any just harm to their lives. It's not fair. So I want to go over the reality of animal cruelty, how animal cruelty can be stopped, what the world would be like if we did not have animal cruelty, and what you can do to prevent animal cruelty. So the reality of animal cruelty is pretty bad. Serious animal neglect is often an indicator of people in need of social and mental health services. So this kind of connects with actually um, um, domestic violence. Animal neglect is often associated with human neglect involving a child, elder, or other dependent. So this happens about to 1 million people a year. I had a little picture on here that said who mistreats or kills an animal can murder too. Um, and you can be the next victim. So report. Scientists have found a mental link between the signs of um, abusing an animal and later doing it on a human. It's just that feeling of power that makes abusers do it to anything they have around them, and usually that is an animal or family member. Um, Also, of the dogs entering shelters, approximately 35% are adopted, 31% are euthanized, and 26% of dogs who came in as strays are returned to their owner. Now, all these statistics are pretty sad. Almost the same amount of animals that are adopted are killed. That's crazy. Um, that should not be happening. What happens is that these shelters get these animals, and either they have too much, the dog is too aggressive, they don't want to deal with it, so they leave the animal in there for about a couple days or maybe a couple weeks, and if they don't get adopted, they get killed in a certain amount of time. Now, also, this percentage of dogs who came in as strays are returned to their owner. This could either go, two ways. Oh, this dog escaped, and this owner's been looking for the dog, or this owner is neglecting their dog, and that dog just wants to get out of there. It could go either way. Um, and also, animal experimentation is not prohibited by law. So this means that they are allowed to test on as many animals as they want, however they want. Um, and I did have a picture up there of it was a tabby cat, where he has there are two different cats. One has something locked onto his head, and the other one has an item drilled into his head. I'm going to guess it's for probably neuroscience exploration to find out something about the brain. But anyway, it's not a life to live. I know I wouldn't want something drilled into my head and be locked up in a cage all day. So we really need to be their voice and stop animal experimentation. Lastly, leaving a dog outside on a hot day or especially within the confines of a car can cause brain damage to the animal in as little as 15 minutes. Obviously, it would be a little more in an extreme event, but a lot of people don't realize that leaving your animal in the car with no air, no water, is animal abuse. So, 15-minute trip could be you going in to get a few items and coming back out, and your dog has brain damage. It's really just a small time that can alter your animal's life. Um, So what I recommend, if you need to bring your dog with you, um, roll down the window, at least roll down the window, have some water in the car for them to drink, and preferably have the car on so they can get some fresh cold air. Um, so how can animal cruelty be stopped? I've come up with a few items that I feel that we can do to stop it. Um, they could apply all animal cruelty laws to all animals, not just as domesticated animals, which means a house pet or livestock. Um, I wanted to talk about or show you all a video of a tiger from Life of Pi. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but they have a tiger in the movie, and it was a video of how the tiger was trained. And it also included the author, or not the author, the trainer who was training this animal. He obviously did not use positive reinforcement, never rewarded the animal for doing a good job, but instead um, used negative reinforcement when he did something wrong. Um, but the point is that they weren't treated equally as maybe a dog would be, but because it is considered a more wild animal, people feel like they don't they don't get any rights as we do. So I just think it would be important that we use animal cruelty as to all animals and not just animals we see every day. We should also apply harsher punishment for people who commit these crimes. It is not fair to a person um, who is beaten to just their person to get a $10,000 fine or 2 years in jail. You want more justice than that. And I think these animals should have the same amount of rights to be protected and loved, because it's not appropriate for people to be killing animals and shutting their mouth or their muzzle taped with duct tape because they're too loud. So I think it's just the reality of how that negativity and power the person thinks they have could affect others. Like I've said, it can lead to domestic violence, and this punishment just needs to be um, taken a part of. Also, we could hire more animal cops to stop animal abusers. I don't know if anyone has seen the show Animal Cops. It is a very good show. If you're an animal lover, I recommend watching it. Because you get to see a transformation in how animals are saved from any abuse or neglect they received from a previous home. You get to see justice most of the time. And you get to see what that person gets punished for. For example, they have a lot of them on there for hoarders who leave their animals there. They don't feed them. They just let them sit in their own feces. They don't ever open the doors for them to leave. So they're trapped inside of their house with kittens and puppies and in horrible, horrible conditions. But it's also great to see how what justice those animals get. And lastly, start a petition against animal testing because it isn't legal. It isn't illegal. And I think it's a very good way to help out, because it's just one signature. They're not asking you to donate. They're not asking you to walk around with a sign and protest. It's just something simple that speaks a lot of words than for just one signature. So what would the world be like? Animals would no longer be tortured. They'd live a pain-free life. They wouldn't be stuck in laboratory cages their whole life. They would be able to see the outside. They'd be able to be loved by others. If also if animal abuse decreased, we could see a decrease in domestic violence. hopefully that would be a good solvent to ending domestic violence, because that is not any more appropriate. Um, and I think people would enjoy the love animals bring. A lot of people don't realize how much animals have an impact in your life, because they are always there to snuggle with you when you have a bad day, or give you kisses, or just stuff like that, because it's a wonderful thing to experience, and I think all people should have that experience. Um, Also, animals can roam free without being captured for their skin or used in a circus or zoo. Um, a lot of people I know, I've seen many posts about people hunting cheetahs for their skin, or hunting down giraffes, and killing rhinoceros for their horns, and elephants for their tusks, just to sell them. Now, I believe that these animals are here to look for beauty. They're not there to be killed. They're to be here for us to admire them, to look at them as beauty, not to sell what they give to us. And lastly, what can you do? You can use cruelty-free products. There's many out there that don't test on animals. Such examples are Burt's Bees, like lotion, lip balm, stuff like that. Martha Stewart has out a lot of lines in like home products, like dish soap, alternatives to Febreze, cleaning products, just stuff like that. There's also a lot of makeup companies that do not test on animals. I'm actually wearing Jordana. I know I don't look the great, but their mascara is awesome. It's cheap. I think it was $3 for a huge tube. It's a really great product, and it does speak words um, to help out with preventing animal testing. You can also sign petitions to help stop cruelty. Such websites like PETA, they have many petitions on there you can sign, and it's not just for animal testing, but it's also to give justice to an animal that was abused by someone. You can see them all the time. You can sign them endlessly to help any animals out that you can. You can also make donations to the SPCA of Texas, Humane Society, PETA, other items or other organizations like that. There's many of them out there, and they would love your donations to help stop and give justice for animals. You can also volunteer at shelters to show animals love and support. Now, this only doesn't just benefit the animals, but it does benefit you. I know, and I've gone there multiple times to go pet kittens and puppies. Um, it does help with stress. It's a great break from school, and especially if you don't have a pet of your own, it is a great way to show animals love, to show them that there is hope. There is people out there that aren't not going to hit them. Um, you can also report cruelty, anything you've witnessed and you've heard about, to the Humane Society. They will. You can look up their number online. They will take everything seriously that you say. They will inspect it. They will. Look into it for you and see if you can help that animal. You can also tell others how they can help. And you can also teach kids to respect animals. I think that's a major thing, because usually we grow up learning things from others, our parents, other adults, other friends, and teaching kids to respect animals and love them instead of hate them is a biggie, and it will help prevent any animal cruelty happening in the future. You can also, lastly, adopt animals from a kill shelter. This is a big one. Um, I always encourage people um, to get them, or to adopt from shelters, kill shelters, because they will euthanize those dogs. They will kill them if they are not adopted. So Other shelters like Operation Kindness, it's just things that don't kill their animals. Those animals can wait because I know they will find a home. But those other ones that are euthanized, like in my previous slide, I talked about how 35% of animals are adopted and only 31%, only 31% are I'm sorry, 31% are killed in the shelter, and that's a lot. Um, so I think it is very, very important that we do show that our support towards these animals because they need our help and they need our voices.